Hi guys, you're here with SpringTv. This video will cover Archer Micro as a whole, spanning from basic stances and tactics used every game, all the way to situational techniques used at the highest level to gain an edge. If you like the video, please check out my Twitch TV channel, linked at the bottom. Enjoy! It's a high DPS, low HP unit, so this is a unit that you always want attacking, but you never want it being touched by anything. So you're always going to want it behind some sort of tank, be it Ram or a Knight or Scout, depending on the age and the upgrades you're on. You always want something in between your archers. We're going to show the difference between stand ground and aggressive. It's really important knowing stand ground here versus aggressive stance. They do very different things. So I'm going to walk past here. Stand ground, these archers will keep their position. They won't move. So once you get a hill, you want to keep the hill. So on stand ground, they're not going to run off. So they'll keep that position. Alright, so aggressive stance. Just stop. Now aggressive stance, you see, they'll target maybe even quicker, but they're going to chase. So as you notice a group of units are on aggressive, you can pull them off and do mechanics like this, where you pull them off and then you run up, you take the hill from your opponent, right? So I'm going to run back off the hill now. But that's one way you can abuse aggressive stance, and you'll see that a lot. A lot of expert players will be trying to pull your army away. They'll play with your aggro. They'll walk into your vision, let you start attacking, and then they'll run away and see if you follow. They're also going to be checking for ballistics to see if you're landing all your shots. For the basic stuff for archers, hill bonus, right? So the hill bonus is going to give you 25% more damage output, but also give you 25% damage reduction from your opponent. So it's so important for a unit like this that's high DPS, low HP. So they're taking less damage while at the same time getting that extra 25% in their arrows. So it's crazy strong for archers on a hill. You really don't want to be walking directly up on them usually. Whatever unit you're attacking, you want to be counting how much damage you're outputting. And if you can kill a unit with one volley, you want to go in, kill one, and then back up for a single target micro. Play with his numbers, get his DPS down. You also want really tight formations when you're fighting with archers. This will help you against melee, so if you can get into small patrols, or you can hide maybe down here at a point. If there was, say, knights patrol in the wood, try and get into a little tiny corner. There's lots of little holes you can get into. So we're going to walk around. We're always going to be walking in a side position, because as arrows fly, they're going to shoot directly at where I'm at. So if we're walking, you'll see good players, they'll be doing circles at each other, because they're always going to try and dodge that first volley that comes across. So now, as we're doing our dance here, we're going to be clicking through our opponent's HP. So we've seen one here, so it's kind of low, so we're going to try and target that down. If he starts shooting, we'll back up. This is really good. Oh, nice. So he's got us there. This is really good with knights. As knights approach you, you'll be running back and you'll be targeting. You'll click through your opponent's army. You'll be targeting those low units. This, I would say, is very basic micro. It has a lot of problems. So when the unit's out on the lip here, easy to target, then that's great, free damage. But if it's, say, back in the back of the archers, and I click through, I'm going to show an example. So you can just fight. I'm going to show a bad example of how to use single target. So say we single target this unit that's way in the back. Now all of our units have walked up, and we lost 2, 3, and quite a bit of HP also. So you got to be really careful with single target. You're mainly using it for these first couple units that are in your range, or a very low one. So we'll single target that, and then we'll back up. If you want your units to keep attacking and chasing armies down, you can just patrol right at them. I'm going to patrol. This is the most basic way. If you're not going to single target to get your units fighting, obviously take into account the hills. If you're on a hill, if your opponent has a bigger force, you don't really want to patrol right into them. You want to back up to a place where you have the hill and they don't, or just not take the fight. Or you can try some other more advanced mechanics that we'll try and show here now. So we'll go into intermediate. So the first thing to learn, intermediate level archers, is you want to pull aggro. So I'm going to make it really obvious. In a normal game, you don't want to be this obvious with what you're doing, but for the sake of learning, it's going to be really good. So we've grabbed his aggro. He's only going to be attacking this unit now, and the rest we patrol in. We call this a runner, or dragging the enemy. Right now it's just a runner, because these aren't following. If he was on aggressive stance, it would be dragging the army, because they'd actually be following. He's fighting back with some because he is on that stand ground. So you can really crush an opponent that's not paying attention. We lost one unit. This can be applied to any ranged. It doesn't have to be a crossbow. This can be applied to town center aggro. This can be applied to tower aggro, to castle aggro. Anything, really. You walk up, you get in their vision so they start fighting, and then you run so that you take a path where you'll be dodging the fire. Works really well in mixed comps. So, for example, you would have like a scout in your archers, much faster, a lot easier to grab the aggro and run off. You'll see a lot of high-level games where they'll run in with the scout, take the aggro from the TC, let their allies go in unharmed. I'll show you a split dodge. You're probably mainly going to use this in water fights or against mangonel, but you can do it against archers, so I'll try and show you. So I'm watching the projectile. As his projectile comes at me, I'm going to use my split formation here and here. So mine is on F and A. So as I hit, so yeah, just give me a second here. I want to show the mechanic. So A will split my army, and F will bring it back. And I keep clicking forward because if you switch, you can actually make them go into different angles. This can be very useful against mangonels. So you split this way as you're hitting forward or backwards. It'll keep that. Go back into your position. If you change direction and go this way and split, it's going to go a line. So it's different dependent on which way they're actually walking. So, okay, we can fight again. So remember, A and F. Obviously, yours would be different. So as soon as I see a projectile, I'm going to split back in, and I'm going to attack, and I'm going to run back out and split. A lot of times you'll see, you see it in galley micro a lot because they're doing a lot of single target micro for galleys. They're trying to pick units off. So you'll see the split micro being used to counteract that. So as he comes in, when a projectile comes, we'll split and then we'll stop so we take a fire shot. So obviously this is wrong. Galleon projectile is slower. Okay, right. So they're a bit easier to dodge as well. So I split. Split. Now, the different uses for these depend on what army you're fighting and how they're targeting too. So next will be stop micro. Stop micro is playing again with that dodging. We're going to grab his aggro. We're going to keep walking around. Now, as he fires, we're going to stop. So we're going to wait for him to shoot at us, and then we're going to hit stop. So then we stop. So we're going to do our circle pattern. So you guys see that these projectiles are missing as we're doing the side. Well, we messed that up, but as we're walking sideways, they're missing, right? And then once he fires a large group, we'll hit stop, and some of ours will shoot back, but from a safe position. They're not taking as much damage. This helps too if you can get in to range so that more are attacking. So fire. So as these are dodging, pretty much all I'm looking at is the archers, the arrows, you see? So as a large group of arrows comes, I'll stop and I'll take another shot. We're dodging, stop, take another shot. Dodging, stop, take another shot. Dodging, stop. I'm going to show you how to walk out of the range. So As he gets close enough to fight, I'm walking away from him like this. So I can also use this with my dodge thing. So dodge, stop, and now I'm walking away from him. Right? Away from all this fire. And now I can maybe come back in, do a split. Now we're in range. And we can go back to the other type of micro. Or we can get back from the fight and we're watching the projectiles. And we're just dancing slightly away from them. You know, side to side, but always away. Never too far to the side. You want a single target high HP units, such as knights, because you're stacking damage here. So if I attacked a archer with all of these units, right, I'm doing 7 damage per one. I probably only need like 6. I'm going to do math on the fly. So I probably only need like 6 to kill an archer. But if we're talking a knight, I need a lot more. So that's where I'll be using all of this damage at the same time to try to kill a knight. So if you want to just run at me. Now, as the knights die, to kill the knights, it's mainly position. As they fall off and die, then we're going to start splitting our focus into little groups to maximize our DPS. This is also under the intermediate. This is a bit higher level micro. At the start of the fight, we're single targeting high HP units. Once they fall off or these come in range, we're going to split focus and do multiple groups onto the lower HP. That way we're not overstacking all that DPS we have. If you could just run at me. Just do a dummy run at me. So, positioning, we're running away from the knights, we're taking shots, but we're using that evasion technique we learned earlier, where we're going up, side to side, we're dodging these arrows, and then we're taking shots every time. Every time we can get out of arrow distance, we're taking free shots on the knights. Alright, and now that we've got this army, we're going to split focus. So we're going to patrol in different groups so that they're not all attacking the same unit. So now they're attacking at different rates, right? I've got 6 here, 4, 7, so they could be potentially killing 3 archers in one volley. Instead of that, 1 archer, then the next archer, then the next archer. So single targeting can be very good, but it also can lower your DPS if you're single targeting too low of units and not being efficient with your groups. So then we'll get to the expert micro part. Split patrols, we talked about that here. It's mainly stacking that damage. You'll want to go through, and if you find some different comps you like, whether it's Conquistador or Camel Archers or CA, you want to get used to that unit. Start looking at how many units it's going to take to one-shot the unit you want to kill, so that you can be splitting into those amounts. So like this will be a one-shot, and then this will be a one-shot. So you're potentially killing 3 instead of the single target. To split up that damage, you don't want to overstack, so we can just patrol them whenever you want. So keep moving side to side every now and then, dodging those arrows. But we're in multiple groups here. Now, if you're chasing a unit that's running, you can patrol directly at them, behind them. But look at how it lines up. So you want to think of it like kind of like a battleship. You want to be broadsiding people. You don't want to be running like this, because then as this comes in, you've only got 3 archers that are going to hit him at one time. They're going to stop, they're going to block these, and then these are going to have to go out around the sides. And now you've got a bigger block that more stuff is going to have to go around the sides. So as you're fighting, you want to be going close, and then you can patrol sideways. Now this creates 5, 6, depending on how big your thing is. It's a lot broader of a side that's going to attack. More units are going to be fighting, less bumping. And also, as we're patrolling side to side, I'm going to go on no attack stance for a second, Adam. I'm going to walk up to you, but on no attack stance. As we're patrolling side to side, we're dodging. We're using that kind of circular mechanic again that we would actually take like this and walk aside. But with patrols, you can patrol and keep clicking around to get that same circular motion. But the bonus is they'll attack as soon as they can. Alright, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to show the patrol. So we're patrolling horizontally to the archers that we're fighting. So we're going to go up and then sideways as soon as we see him going. So sideways, which one do I want to show first? Patrol. Let's do patrol per shot. So this is going to be all about DPS here. So I'm going to patrol. As soon as they fire, I'm patrolling again. Fire, patrol again. Fire, patrol again. Fire, patrol again. And we're just going to keep doing that. The hope is that in some of these, we're getting a movement after each shot so that we're dodging. Now this is going to be really high DPS because I'm taking shots as soon as I possibly can. This is purely for maximum output of damage. We also are trying to go circularly around to where, again, we have a broadside and they're at the tip of their army. Let's do the very similar mechanic, but this is going to show dodging. So this is a bit different. The other mechanic goes for pure DPS. You hit patrol after every single fire of your unit, and this will be more about dodging what he's doing. We're dodging his damage instead of going for damage for ourselves. So the other mechanic would be better if you're winning. It will give you, it will snowball you faster. Also, if you're like running from knights and you're just trying to get more DPS out, or if you have a tank in front of you taking the shots. If you're actually being directly hit with your archer, then you want to start thinking about dodging more so than your high DPS. So this one will be a bit different. We're going to patrol, but now he's going to be the boss here. As soon as he shoots and the projectile comes, we patrol. We're not attacking him until that happens because we're going to try to dodge every single fire. So see, as the volleys come through, I'm hitting patrol. Now this one's based off his. See how we're doing it every time he's going to shoot? It's not about us. We're taking damage whenever we can get free damage. So we're always trying to time it on when he's firing. So two different ways, two different styles. That works much better against a single target. As you can see, once he's using single target micro, you can see the whole volley lineup. It's much easier to hit patrol at that moment than if they're just firing. That's where maybe the DPS one might work out. If they're not actually doing certain types of micro and their archers are always just firing kind of like one after another, it's much harder to dodge, right? It's easier to dodge a full volley group. So ballistics is really nice because there's a lot of these cool techniques for dodging arrows, but once you get ballistics, you don't even have to worry about it anymore. You will be hitting the targets. Now, before, where we were using that mechanic where we're doing circles, circular motions, dodging the projectiles, it's not going to work. So you always want to look as your opponent's firing at you to see if they have ballistics. You see how he's hitting these? Okay, now he has ballistics. I have to think differently about how I'm microing. If I tried that dodge thing, I would just get hit in the face a bunch of times. So now we're going to use a different kind of micro, which is ballistic dodge micro. So I'm going to send these in first. And now ballistics is lining up to where I'm running to. So if I'm running this direction, it's going to shoot here instead of directly at me like a normal archer would. It's going to know where I'm going next. If you go on stand ground, your units don't freeze as much as you're dodging. For dodging ballistics, you definitely want to be on stand ground. So first we pull aggro, and now we're clicking. We're trying to click in random motions so that the ballistics cannot calculate where we're going to go because even our brains don't know where we're going to go. So we're going to keep doing that. We grab one at a time. And if you just grab them right to the front, a lot of the enemy units will just start aggroing. So we'll do that a bunch. We want to be in between our units and their units. We want to easily be the first one aggroed because it's going to take a lot of clicking function. So you can dodge ballistics, but you have to think about it completely different than if you dodge regular non-ballistics fire. This is the case for castles, towers, TCs, for everything. Once again, this is a very projectile aggression thing. It's not just archers.
Alright guys, I know that was a lot to digest. I hope this was helpful. I had lots of fun preparing this for you. I would like to give a big shout out to Sableton especially for all the editing, but also Ryder and Adam for all the work that they've done as well. This was a group effort, and we look forward to creating more instructional videos for all you nerds in the future. See you on the battlefield.